Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are reviewing the Revlon Colorstay Full Cover Foundation. This is a brand new foundation. It just came out. I got it at Ulta and it retails for $13.99. I'm going to be doing this foundation review just like all of my other ones, so I will be doing a 10 to 12 hour wear test with it. Since I do have very oily skin, I like to see how the foundation is going to last on my skin, if it's going to separate, cake up, and I just like to see how it's going to work throughout the day on my skin. I'm going to have very oily skin. I have rosacea, sensitive skin, acne prone skin, and I think that's it. So I'm super excited about this foundation. This is a full coverage foundation. It has a matte finish. It's supposed to last up to 24 hours. We won't be doing that today though. We'll only do 12 hours. It's supposed to be very flexible and comfortable wearing on your skin. It doesn't flake or cake up, and it's supposed to blend seamlessly. It actually says here online that it has a smooth, even complexion with a built-in primer. I didn't know that. That's pretty cool actually. Yeah, so that's about all the information you get on the website here. And by the way, this is what the bottle looks like. Excuse my nails, I just ripped them off. So you do get 1 full fluid ounce in here, which is standard for foundation amounts, and I think I covered everything. So if you guys want to watch me apply this foundation, see my first impressions, and then also see how it wears on my skin throughout the day, then just keep on watching. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is prime my face. I'm using the Dr. Brandt Pores No More primer, and I'm just going to be putting this on half of my face. I like to only prime one half of my face when I'm doing foundation reviews because I like to see how the foundation is going to work by itself with no primer, for those of you who don't like using primers. And then I'm going to go straight in with the foundation. I have the shade 200 again, if you guys missed it. And I'm just going to take about that much of my finger and dot this around. I'm taking my Flower Beauty sponge and I'm just going to pounce this around and work into the skin. So I'm probably going to go in with a little bit more because I can definitely still see through the foundation, and yeah, it doesn't look like it really covered up much, but the finish it has is really nice. It looks very skin-like and natural. It doesn't look too matte. It also has a pretty thick consistency. It feels almost whipped, kind of like the Tarte Amazonian Clay foundation. So I'm going to take a little bit more and do the same exact thing and just try and build this up, see how it wants to layer on my skin. Okay, so that definitely gave me more coverage. It's layering nicely. It's not looking cakey or anything, but it is starting to look a little bit heavier around my mouth area. But other than that, it is building up nicely. The color is a pretty nice match to my body. Maybe a little bit too beige, but I think it looks pretty good so far. Okay, so that's with 2 layers on. It covered up just about everything, but I still can definitely see through the foundation to my skin tone, especially on my cheek area right here. I can just see a little bit of redness, which isn't a big deal, but it does claim to be full coverage. Maybe it's just because the sponge is soaking up a lot of the product, but I am gonna go in with a little bit more just because I wanna see if we can build this up to full coverage, since that's what it claims to be. Okay, so far I think this coverage looks pretty nice. Again, I still can see a little tiny bit of redness on my cheek happening here. I went in with quite a bit, so I don't think I'm gonna add any more to that side. But let's go in with a brush on this side of my face just to see if that'll give me more coverage. So I'm gonna taking about the same amount that I took the first time. And I'm using my Sigma F80 brush. This is my favorite foundation brush to use. Oh yeah, way more coverage. Okay, so my sponge was definitely soaking up a lot more of the product. That's why I wasn't getting as much coverage on the other side, but I do really like the finish it gave me. So far with the brush, this looks really, really nice. Way more coverage, so I feel like with this foundation, I would rather apply it with the brush, and then I always like to just pounce over everything with a sponge just to kind of even everything out. So I definitely like this foundation applied with a brush way more just because I don't feel like I have to use so much product. I'm going to take just a little bit more and put it right on my cheek and then my nose where I need some more coverage. Okay, so something that I'm noticing with the brush, it is not building up as easily with the brush as it was with the sponge. It's kind of starting to pick up the foundation a little bit. So now I'm going to take my sponge again and then just kind of pounce over everything to even all that out and take away some of that texture. Okay, much better. So far the foundation is looking really nice. It is drying down a little bit more, so it doesn't look as satiny as I was saying before, but it still does have a really nice finish to it. I think it looks very soft. It still does feel very tacky to the touch, so this does feel like a foundation that you're gonna have to set down with a powder. Yeah, it definitely feels a little bit tacky. I don't mind that because I always set my foundation down with powder since I am so oily. But so far, I think it looks really good. I think the coverage is nice. I wouldn't consider this full coverage though. I had to go in with quite a bit and I can still see a little bit of redness peeking through my skin. I would definitely say this is more of a buildable medium to full. But yeah, I think it looks really, really nice so far. It's not settling or creasing in any of my fine lines yet. It looks really nice in the corners of my nose. It doesn't look cakey or anything. I think my pores look very smooth and kind of airbrushed. So I'm gonna finish up my makeup and see how everything works on top of the foundation, see if everything blends well. But yeah, so far I'm super, super impressed. Okay, so I'm gonna be using all the same products that I use every day just because I know these products work with all my other foundations and with my oily skin. So I'm using a little bit of Tarte Shape Tape. This one's in the shade Light. And I'm putting this right underneath my eyes, center my forehead, center my nose, chin, and my cupid's bow. I just like to brighten up the center of my face with this. I will say one thing though, I feel like the foundation is kind of itching my skin because I've had to itch my nose and around here quite a bit already. So I don't know if my skin just isn't liking the foundation or what, but it is pretty itchy. But so far the concealer is blending out really nicely. It's not grabbing on the foundation or picking it up anywhere, so thank goodness. And then to set all that concealer down, I'm using my Too Faced Peach Perfect Matte Setting Powder. Just gonna take my sponge, dip it in here, and then press that in underneath my eyes. And then I also like to use this to set my entire face just to lock all that makeup in and just kind of set everything down so nothing slips and slides around, since usually if I don't do this, my makeup is just completely transferred off my face. So I'm just doing that same thing and pressing this in all over my entire face. So far, so good. Everything is looking super soft still, and I'm loving the way that this is looking on my skin. It just looks so soft. I'm using a little bit of bronzer. This is the Balm Take Me Home bronzer in the shade Oscar. I'm using a Morphe M527 brush. I actually totally forgot to contour, so before I finish up my cheekbones, I'm using the Kat Von D Shade and Light Kit, and I'm taking a little bit of this shade right here. Just gonna contour my cheekbones a little bit using a Luxie 512. And then I'm using the Milani Luminoso blush. This is a Morphe E4. I'm just gonna be putting a little bit of this on my cheeks. I got a little bit carried away with the contour and bronzer today, so I'm just gonna bake a little bit underneath this line here. I'm setting my brows down quick with the Benefit Ready Set Brow Gel. Oh my gosh, did you guys notice that I chipped my tooth? I totally forgot. I have to go get it fixed this week, but look at this tooth, how nice and square that is, and then look at this one. I chipped it right here, biting these nails off. Anyways, I'm gonna use a little bit of this brown shade right here and just smudge that right underneath my lash line. I believe this is Fudge by Anastasia. Then I'm just gonna buff that out with a little tiny blending brush. And then I'm putting some MAC Nylon right here, right in my inner corners. Also gonna line my waterline quick with this Urban Decay 24/7 eye pencil. Put some mascara down there. This is the Sephora Outrageous Curl Mascara. Uh-oh. For a little bit cream highlight, I'm using Benefit What's Up highlighter. Just gonna press that in right in my cheekbones. And I'm gonna take some Tarte Stunner highlight and go right over top of that. And then just to kind of tone that down a little bit and melt it into the skin, I'm going right over top of that with my Beauty Blender, just so it doesn't look too crazy. Also gonna put a little bit of this on my Cupid's bow, my nose, right down the bridge, and then also underneath my brows. my lipstick, I'm using Anastasia Beverly Hills in the shade Crush. And then last but not least, I'm going to spray my face down with the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray. Okay, so here it is with all of my makeup completely done. I still think it looks really nice. I love the way my skin looks. I still think it looks very smooth and nothing looks enhanced. And I just think it's sitting on the skin really well. It also looks really natural. All of my makeup went over it really nicely. Nothing was patchy or like picking up and transferring the foundation around. So that's nice. I still wouldn't consider this a full coverage foundation though, especially now that I have the rest of my makeup on. I can totally see through the foundation to my acne scarring, a little bit of redness, and just some pimples that I have around my chin area especially. It was buildable, but I kind of wish I would have gotten with a little bit more just to try and get it as full coverage as possible, just because that's what it claims to be. Other than that, yeah, I think it looks really nice. It is 11:10 right now, so I'm gonna check you guys back in about 4 or 5 hours just to see how the foundation is holding up on my skin. I will be doing a 10 to 12 hour wear test day with this foundation, so I really hope it's gonna hold up on my skin nice, because so far I'm super impressed and I'm loving it. My skin isn't itchy anymore. I know I was saying that it was pretty itchy before I set my makeup down, but hasn't been itchy since then, so let's hope it doesn't keep itching. But yeah, so I think that's all I have to say, so I will check back in and see you guys in a little bit. Okay guys, so it is 4:30 now. It's been about 5 hours, and the foundation still looks really good. It hasn't caked up or creased anywhere, and it still is pretty matte. There's a little bit of a shine on my forehead, but hardly anything. Otherwise, it's controlling my oil really well. My face still looks pretty matte and it looks very soft still. It did transfer off a little bit right here. That's where I was saying where my face was kind of itching. I don't know if it's foundation or just my skin, I don't know, but it was itching pretty bad. So I did scratch right there and it came off a little bit. But other than that, it hasn't transferred anywhere else on the rest of my face. Oh, my lip's bleeding. My lips are so dry right now, oh my gosh. So yeah, so far so good. It's been about 5 hours, so I'll see you guys again in another 5 hours or so and just show you guys how it's holding up on my skin. So I will see you guys in a few hours. Okay, so it's the end of the day now. It is at 12:16 a.m., way past my bedtime. It's been 13 hours, and honestly, the foundation is looking so good right now. I was at an amusement park. I was on roller coasters all day today, so I definitely put this foundation to the test through the humidity, through the heat, through roller coasters, and it looks so good right now. I honestly can't even believe it. There's a little bit of separation right on my cheek right here, and then a little bit on my nose, just a teeny bit. There is a little bit of transferring, just like where I scratched my nose, where I showed you guys earlier, and then I do see a little spot on my forehead up here that has transferred off, but it hasn't really transferred off anywhere else. It's not creasing in my smile lines. It's not really creasing in my chin line, maybe a little bit, but not terrible. But other than that, I think it looks really good right now. It still looks very soft. Another thing too is that I'm not oily. So there is a little bit of a shine on my forehead. You guys can see from there, just a little bit. It's not crazy. There's not really much of a shine on my nose, which is the main part that I get oily. And yeah, I think it looks really good. I'm just super impressed and I'm really happy with this foundation. I'm really happy with the longevity that I've gotten out of this, and I'm just really happy that it is actually controlling my oil. I don't really know what else to say about this other than I'm really impressed, and this is definitely in my top, I'd say 5 drugstore foundations for sure. And I know you guys have been asking me for a top 5 high-end and top 5 drugstore foundations and just like a top 10 in general foundations video, and that will be coming soon. But otherwise, I think that's all I have to say. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope it helped you guys out if you were looking to buy this foundation. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.